When you're ready, Joanna.
It's my podcast. I do what I want.
It's my podcast.
Welcome to this episode of So It's Not Just Me. I'm your host, Joanna, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about a lot of different episodes, things that we've learned from the episodes, things that we've enjoyed, and mainly because, as I've said in a lot of episodes, I'm almost 40. Well, the day this episode comes out will be my 40th birthday, so I thought, what better way to celebrate than go over some of the old episodes and see what we loved, what we hated, what really inspired us, and what we learned from the different things. And what better way to do that with two people who have been on the podcast number of times now, and hopefully we'll be on a number more in the future when we get some more done. So with that, Stacy and Cheri, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
So before we get started, I did contact both Stacey and Cheri and say, hey, what episodes did you enjoy? What's your favourite ones? And let's talk about it. So both of you said the same episode as one of your top three episodes, which was Sophie's. So I want to jump straight in there and talk about Sophie's episode, what we loved, what we took from it, and why all three of us really enjoyed that episode. So Cherry, I'll let you go first. Why did you pick Sophie's episode?
I think what I liked was Sophie's just such a natural person. She was so relaxed on it, and I think because of that, she was really open. It was like no question was off limits. She would tell you everything that she felt, everything she thought, and I just thought she was very real and open and honest in it, and I liked that.
Yeah, I kind of got that as well, and I felt that the conversation was so easy,
Yeah,
and it that episode was really what I wanted my podcast to be, as two people who are friends or don't know each other, whatever, but comfortable, sat in a room talking to each other and just having a cup of tea, and that was what I felt my episode in a nutshell would be. Um, how did you feel, Stace?
I think it was, again, the same as what you guys, but I just think it's such a brave thing to talk about because, as much as it shouldn't be, proactively choosing not to have children, I think is still something that people can't get their heads around. And I think the fact that Soph's obviously been so open about it and, you know, it's it then gives other people the opportunity to sit back and think, well, actually, that's the life that I want. And now I don't feel scared about choosing that life or making decisions based on to have kids based on, oh, my parents want me to have kids or,
peer
it's the
pressure.
thing to, it's the norm to do and all of that stuff. So I just think it's really, really brave that she can openly talk about it without worrying about other people.
Yeah, and that's something that I thought as well was, obviously the whole world knows that we're doing the fertility stuff right now. But hearing her side of, well, I don't want kids and that's okay, made me feel a little bit better if we don't have kids. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed learning that and like kind of taking that in myself as it's not the end of the world if I don't have kids. I there's so much that we can do and see and without having to have the kids as well.
Yeah.
And just because you personally haven't got kids, it doesn't mean you haven't got kids in your life.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that was like a good point of Sophie's. Like, she's got Michael's kids, she's got your kids, Stacey. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, if she wanted to do something, it was like, I can't do this because I haven't got kids.
Yeah.
There's plenty of kids that she could be like, hi, can I borrow? Thanks.
Well,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
it. This is it. When I was living at my dad's, Sophie brought Max through to play with Delilah because Penny and Heidi were off doing something for the day with Nikki. So, that gave her the opportunity to come and spend some time with me, but it also meant that she could spend some time with Max and Max had someone to play with because Delilah was there and, she didn't feel that she just had to come and sit. Like she got
Yeah.
involved with the kids and stuff like that. And I think it is a really important thing, and I think that there is quite a few members of our family that have proactively chosen not to have children, and there's those that have not been given a choice. And I think that it's nice that they've got that balance, that we can just hand our kids over if they want them, and the kids are comfortable going to them and stuff like that as well. So
Yeah.
It was a very it's probably my actual favorite episode that I've done.
yeah,
It's really hard to pick a favorite when you've done so many, but that one probably is. It was just so comfortable. It was nice, and
And
I
that,
go
so
ahead.
that came across watching it, how
yeah,
Yeah,
comfortable you both were. Like you could tell you both were happy to just have these open conversations.
yeah. And it's been a long time since I don't. In fact, I don't think I've ever really sat and spoken, had a conversation with Sophie. Not like that. We've probably
yeah,
seen each other when we've been had like a party or a gathering or something, but I think that was the first time I've really, really sat and spoke to her, and it was really nice, really, really
yeah.
nice to be able to do
Yeah.
that. So
I
that was
think as
good.
well, I wish that when we were struggling and I was having miscarriages, that I'd have had something like that I could have actively listened to, because I felt like I had to keep going, because if I didn't have kids, then I weren't fulfilling my role as a woman, as a wife, as a daughter, And I think, I mean, I wouldn't change my children for the world, but I think had I wouldn't have probably felt as much pressure
Right.
before we had
Yeah.
Penny.
Yeah, I get that. And I think that along with that, Katie's episode, where we discussed her losing her first child, sorry, her second baby because she'd already had the first,
Yeah,
that helped as well. That was very, very interesting to listen to, and helped a lot. And I know that some listeners did get in touch after that, both of those episodes, to say how much both of those episodes helped
yeah,
them, which
yeah.
is
I agree
good.
with that. I mean, you get the whole, if you've already got a child and then you start trying for another and you have a miscarriage, it's the whole, oh, but you've already got one and she's perfect, so why keep doing this to yourself? And it's like that. I wanted to stab people in the eyes with those comments.
Oh,
So
I get that.
yeah,
And I think moving on from that, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about Sophie's episode before. I'm trying not to spend too much time on each one because I know there's a lot of episodes that we've all said we enjoyed, but I did want to focus on that one first because I do think it was one of my most important ones. Um, but leading on from that, I also think that how open Cherry and Craig both were about their journey was very, very interesting. Let me think. What was the next one that you said that you'd enjoyed? I had a list in front of me and I've completely got rid of them and I don't know
are
why
they
I didn't
both? Are
keep
they all
them.
in the group chat?
I've got them. It's okay.
We got it.
Yeah. So now I know that the one that we did, me, I'm saying we, and you both have done
I'm like,
episodes.
which we?
So
Which we?
I'm gonna I'm gonna talk about the one that I did with Beth, Cherry, and Shannon first, and
I
then I want to
love
talk about
that. I
a
love
couple
that
that we
so
did.
much.
Um, that one was one of my favorite, but one of the worst episodes I've ever done. And I'll explain why. I love when we're all together. It's one of my favorite things when we're all together and we're all just having a chat and a giggle. I was so tired and delirious that I was just no coffee could get me awake enough. Um, and then when I came to edit it, it was probably the hardest one because I just kept laughing and not listening to what anyone was saying. So it took me the longest to actually edit because it was so fun listening to us all together, and it just felt like a normal everyday, and I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that. Um, there was a lot that I would like to add to it if we ever did get the chance, because there's a lot more that we could say that we
Yeah.
hadn't said that I thought we had. But that was such a fun episode to do, and I'm really leaning to these fun episodes a bit more that I'm liking to do. Not that I don't like doing the other ones, but the fun ones are really like grabbing my attention right now.
Yeah, you need a bit of variety. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
think
when I
genuinely.
watched
Oh, sorry, Cherry. Go on.
sorry, when I watched that episode, I was laughing all the way through it, even though I knew what we'd all said and what was going to be said. And I was just sat there laughing my head off so much. I was texting, I think I was texting in the group chat saying, I'm watching it now and it's so funny. Like,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
But do you think it's funny for somebody who isn't in our family? Is it just funny because it's us? Or is it funny
That's a tough one,
full
isn't it? I
stop?
don't know. I don't know. Well,
Possibly.
maybe we should have got more people outside of the family's reactions before.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
What I don't know. I don't know if that or the kids episode was more chaotic because
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that was definitely fun. But it's just really nice because like you don't sit with your sisters and your cousins and say, so what do you actually think about this? And
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what they're going to say because you know them inside out most of the time.
yeah,
But to hear the reactions and the thoughts and the stories from a different point of view is just so much fun.
Yeah. Well, there was like Beth was saying something that she's like remembered from childhood that she did to Shannon at swimming. Shannon has no recollection of this incident happening, but
Yeah.
Beth remembered this like, oh my god, one time I really hurt Shannon, and Shannon's like, did you? I don't remember.
What are you on
30
about?
years later,
we
she's
don't.
like, oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. It's crazy how the stories are remembered, even if some of them are somewhat made up about running around with knives and things. But
Not made up.
you know,
No,
you know,
no made up things.
She used to do it to me, Stacey. Her and Beth used to chase me with knives and they hit me on the head with a big tub of butter, and they deny it.
Listen, Emma nearly drowned Kirsty in Nana's fish pond.
I'm gonna say, I bet you two did it to Kirsty. I'm gonna ask Kirsty.
I'm stepping out of this. Emma, literally, my mum went into Nana Purdy's back garden, you know, that fish pond near the shed at the top of the
Yeah.
garden. She was literally holding Kirsty upside down into the fish pond and told mum that she fell in and she was pulling her out.
Oh
I think
god.
I almost made Cherry drowned in a pool in Florida.
That
Yeah,
would
Told
she
her
not
she
be
took
could
my
swim.
took my armbands off and told me I could swim. Jump in.
oh. That's a bit sadistic.
I
We
know.
did
I
used to
think she
put
was what,
Kirsty in, you know,
4?
those walkers.
Hmm.
But obviously in the 90s, they weren't like they are now. They were just like a bit of fabric around some metal and with a few wheels on bottom. We used to put Kirsty in the baby walker, and you know, my Nana Baker's path, obviously it goes from the top of the garden all the way to the bottom. It's
Yeah.
like a slight slope. Just pushed her down it.
See, you older ones.
Whee!
I'm gonna.
you,
Me and
you,
Kirsty are gonna start a club.
you and Kirsty and Shannon, right? You and Kirsty and Shannon must have suffered.
Shannon's the eldest.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Shannon's
mean
oldest
her and
child.
Yeah,
Scott, but in
yeah,
us
between her
lot.
and Scott, yeah, but out of us
Yeah,
lot,
I
and
guess.
Sophie seemed to skip it because of that age gap. She seemed to have
Yeah.
skipped the torture because by the time Sophie came along, we
Torture.
were all older, so it was less impactful. We
Yeah.
just used to stick around farming.
But
Bullies, the
yeah,
lot
that
of them.
episode was really, really fun.
Yeah,
And
I love
as much
that.
as it
I
was
love that.
difficult, it was a lot of fun, and I would definitely be up for doing something again like that.
Yeah.
Maybe if we can get time differences to work a bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Maybe we
that
do it
was.
next time Beth's over here. That would probably make it easier.
There's just so much to do whenever anyone's
It
visiting.
needs to make the time.
Yes. Make this time work.
Make this time work.
Yes. And then one of the other ones that the other ones that you two mentioned are a bit more of the serious ones, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I enjoyed all of them. The body shaming one,
Yeah,
that really made me think a lot, and it made me think more about now than back then.
yeah,
So, like how I feel about myself now is very different to how I felt then. Um, and I will still never get that image of Bridget Jones as the bunny being
yeah.
called fat. So, it's took a lot of healing, I think, for all of us to get to a point with
I
the
do
body
think as
shaming.
well, like the skinny era is definitely coming back, and I think that when you are not just as a parent, but like you guys, like as aunties and the rest of it, like when you're raising little girls, because we are a village, we do raise our kids together. That's just how our family works, regardless of where you are in the world. Um, you've got to be so conscious of the words that you say and the way that you portray your body and the way you think about how they are seeing you. Like, I'm not going to stand there in front of the mirror, like pulling at my, my lumps and bumps and picking myself to pieces, because I need those little girls to feel confident regardless. So I have to feel confident. And actually, I started out by not doing it for me, I was doing it for them. But now actually, I'm doing it for all of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And that really opened my eyes, that episode, because I really didn't, until I started thinking about it and doing like the research and stuff, and I didn't really think about the impact it had on me when I was younger, and it really did.
I think, and I really, really want Cherry's opinion on this. Um, I think that when we was younger, it was a more of a weight loss and to be skinny journey, whereas now it's a health journey, and that's
Yeah,
what I see with Cherry. Because
agree.
I hope you don't mind me saying, but you've done absolutely brilliant this year, losing all the weight.
Yeah.
Um, and I never saw you as big before. And maybe that's just because I've not seen you for a little while, and you'd look different to when I last remember seeing you. But you look amazing now, and
Thank
I
you.
feel like the way that you've done it is very much you've been running, you've been going to the gym, you've been working out, and you're doing like a healthy
Yeah.
mentality rather than I need to be skinny mentality.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Like I haven't given myself like an end goal. I haven't got like by this date I want to have done this, and by this date I set myself little goals. Like I'm going on a hen do, so I'm like, oh, between now and then, I wonder if I could lose a stone. I'm
yeah,
not going to sit and cry if I haven't lost a stone by then, but like just little things to give me the little boost. But
yeah,
like you were saying about like the girls, I weigh myself every week. So on a Monday, I get the weighing scales out. Claire stands with me and she always says, I want to go first. She doesn't know why I'm weighing myself,
yeah,
but she gets on and I always, whatever she weighs, she just says a random number. She just gets on, gets off, says a random number. And every time I'm like, oh, well done, you've put this much on, or yeah, you've got this number now. She doesn't know
yeah,
why she's weighing herself. She just weighs, and I praise her for whatever it is,
yeah,
and she's just really happy about it.
Yeah,
But she must have got this from school. She's always says to me, is this healthy? Is this healthy? Is
yes,
this good for
yeah.
you? And
They
they
do
must be
talk a lot
learning it
about it
at
in school
school.
now.
And
They do.
I keep saying to her, well, it's not, but it's okay if you have it just in, as long as you
Yeah,
don't have too much. Because I'm thinking, I'm not going to say to her, no, it's not healthy. And she's like, oh, can't have chocolate. Oh, I can only
yeah,
eat apples. Like, whatever she wants, she can have as long as, she's not having a bar of chocolate for a tea. I
yeah,
don't want her to have an unhealthy relationship with food where she's thinking, I've got to have fruit and salad and vegetables. I can't have a treat because
yeah.
that's never going to work. That's not real life.
I think there's a big thing at school about healthy eating and stuff like that, and there's reasons behind it, because I do think that we are in an age where there are a lot of, I wouldn't say weight issues, but health issues associated with food,
Yeah.
and what types of food they're eating, especially the sugar side of things. So
Yeah.
I think that's why they bring a lot into it, and they start talking about, when they start talking about the teeth and the brushing the
Yeah.
teeth. When they come in with the little pack where you get a toothbrush and a toothpaste and take it from there.
Yeah.
The way that they're managing it is, they are again not focusing around the weight, they're focusing around the health. So it's
Yeah.
a similar thing. And I think that I'm really supportive of my kids choosing what they want to eat, and choosing what they want to wear, and like letting them make those choices around themselves and what fits them and what looks nice on them, and what they like. But we also like have limitations, and we bring
yeah,
the healthy conversation into it.
Yeah.
that makes sense. And I think that's what we needed when we was at school.
Yeah, not
But
Kate Moss in a flappy little
I'm
dress.
very much for learning from history. You should
Yeah,
never erase history because it was there for a reason, and you just learn from it and move on.
It's crazy, but like if you think back to school and school dinners when we were younger, things like that. But the way the world was, so like you say about the Bridget Jones and the things that were put in the
yeah,
magazines and the newspapers and all things like that. But then the school dinners we were served on your lunch, on your morning break up at comp, you could go and get a slice of pizza or a sausage roll or a slice of chocolate concrete. They were like your three choices.
yeah,
Yeah,
And then at dinner it was like sausage roll, chips and beans, or pizza, chips and beans. I don't remember seeing a variety of
vegetable.
vegetables. You know what I mean?
there
It
was
was
sausage rolls on the Breakfast Club menu. We
Yeah.
used to
Yeah.
go. Me and my friends used to go into school early, and you would have a sausage roll for breakfast because that was on the
Yeah.
breakfast club menu. And then when we were allowed out on school lunches, we would go to that little cafe that was between the pizza place and
Yeah.
the shop, and it'd be like chips and cheese, chips and gravy, chips stuffing and gravy. Like it weren't anything nutritious. And I think I and then you go to uni and you're eating convenience food. You know, you're living off pasta and sauces and
Yeah.
takeaways, and I think it's like, had I been more educated around good choices from a young age, then I probably would have done better. And it's like, it's not my mum and dad, like we ate well with them. My mum always cooked and stuff like that. But I think once you start making those decisions yourself, you're always going to choose convenience and taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just easy. Just
Yeah.
far
Yeah.
too easy. Why can't the good stuff taste like chocolate?
That's very true.
That's all I need.
I had a I
And
had a chia pudding earlier with cocoa powder in it. So it's made with like natural yogurt, honey, chia seeds, and like cocoa powder mixed into it. And I'm just sat there thinking, oh my god, I could have just had a dairy milk. But I needed the protein.
all the healthy stuff has coconut in it, and I'm so scared that I'm gonna die if I eat it that I
Yeah,
can't eat it.
there is a lot of coconut in healthy
There's
stuff.
too
It's
That's
like
much.
like
they're
the
trying to add
replacement.
flavour, aren't they? Because it's such a strong
Yeah,
flavour. But
it's
I
in
do
everything.
think that I think having supportive people around you that celebrate who you are as well is always a good thing. Like Craig's text to you absolutely killed me. Like that's something Fat Carrie would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
That absolutely kills me. But it's like me and Matt don't ever talk about weight and stuff like that, but he's always like saying how beautiful I am and stuff like that in front of the girls, and he tells them how beautiful they are, you know, like especially like if we're getting ready to go out somewhere. And I just think if you've got somebody in your corner that's bigging you up and making you feel good about yourself,
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
makes you want to do more to better yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. So I'm gonna move on a little bit, if that's okay.
It
I
is.
also I reached out to a few listeners and got some information on what episodes they liked, so we'll go onto those as well. But before we do, I wanted to touch on Becky's episode, and I think Becky's episode about MS and being diagnosed with a life changing illness at a young age, she said something that really really hit me. Um, when I asked her, "Did it help once you got your diagnosis?" and she just looked at me and went, "No, it didn't." And I was like, that honesty is
Yeah,
what
Yeah.
I really appreciate. Because you could sit there and say, yeah, 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 I felt so much better after I knew what it was. But
yeah,
her being able to say, no, it really didn't, was such a relief. Because you think, again, going back to the fertility stuff, we know that there's nothing wrong with us. We're
yeah,
just an unexplained fertility. And some people would say, well, at least I know somewhat why, but we
Yeah.
don't. And Becky is kind of the same. She doesn't feel better having a diagnosis, and it's really refreshing to know that it's okay if you don't
Yeah.
know.
yeah. I agree. I totally agree. Like we never found out the reason why we were having so many miscarriages, and we had years of testing and stuff like that, and trying different treatments and stuff. And I ended up feeling like stuff that I researched but actually benefited me more than the stuff that the doctors were doing. And I
Yeah,
asked for blood thinners specifically from my consultant, and that luckily happened to be the thing that worked for us. Or did it? Like you never know. And it's like we did the same thing after we had Penny before we had Delilah, and still ended up losing another baby. And then obviously we then had Delilah, and it was that we did the same things. But I mean, I fully feel like I had some issue, like with blood clotting and stuff like that when I was pregnant, because the state my placenta was in after I'd given birth. It was very obvious, even with the support that I had and the medication that I had, that there was
yeah,
there was an issue.
yeah,
But they would never have been able to diagnose it because they couldn't do the testing while I was pregnant.
Yeah, yeah. I think as well. I'm sorry, and I'm kind of skipping all over. Um, one of the things with Becky's episode as well was the invisible illness that, you know, Becky, you can't tell that there's anything
No.
medically going on with Becky.
No.
And that's something that you don't realize in a lot of things, whether it's like grief or fertility or illnesses, you
Yeah.
don't know. And to look at somebody, it made me really, really feel like, I want to be more curious of people. I want
Yeah.
to know more about them. I want to really understand them before I make any judgment.
Yeah, I feel like that with people that have got like that are neurodivergent. Like again, that's another invisible sort of. And
Yeah,
I don't like to use the word disability because I don't think that every single person who's got autism or ADHD or AUHD and stuff like that feels that they're disabled, because that's absolutely not the case. But for some people, it is completely debilitating,
yeah,
even with medication and stuff like that. And I think that they look like the normal person. You would never envisage just by looking at somebody that they have got something that can completely take over their entire lives.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, like with Claire, we've just she's got a blue badge now for parking, and sometimes I
Yeah,
think people are going to be like, "Why has she got that?" And then when we go places now, I'm making the most of it. But she's got these additional needs, and when we go places, I can get in as her carer, so it's easier for us to
yeah,
go places because I'm like, do you know what? We're not having to pay out 40, 50 pounds as a family to go somewhere, so it doesn't matter if we have to leave somewhere early.
yeah,
yeah.
But to look at Claire, people wouldn't
No,
understand why
absolutely
we've
not.
got it. So I've even bought her a sunflower lanyard, and that's
Yeah.
just so that hopefully there's, if people see, they can be like, oh well, there's something.
But I
Whereas
mean, why should it matter? Why should she
I
have to wear
know,
that? And I think
no,
that that's the thing that bothers me so much about these invisible illnesses is that why do we give that much of a shit? Like, is it
yeah,
really that important that you get to pay, that you get to skip the queue, or that you get to park a little bit closer? Like, if I saw you and I didn't know you getting out of a disabled car parking space with your little girl, I would not look at you and think, oh, she's not disabled. Why is
yeah,
she parking in a disabled space?
yeah. But
You
I
some
know,
think
people,
it's the perspective that
yeah,
you've been given, over the years, and it's the
yeah,
mindset that people
yeah,
from the past have said that make you think
yeah.
like that.
yeah,
It
Well, like, I
goes
was
back to your
talking to
God experience.
one of my friends recently. She's trying to her son's been referred for an autism assessment, and so Claire has as well. Um, and we said getting this diagnosis will not change who they are, will not change how
no,
we feel about them, but
no,
it might make the world be a bit kinder to them
Yeah,
if you can say this is what the reason that this is why we're doing this because of this. And if I don't care about a label for her, but if it
no.
makes the world be a bit kinder to her, then we'll do
Easier,
it.
easier,
Yeah,
I think. And
yeah,
and do you know what? I think that on the opposite end of the scale to Becky, saying that it didn't make her feel better. A few people that I know that have had sort of like later in life diagnoses for autism or ADHD have actually said it has made them feel better because it explains so much about who they are, their
understanding
quirks. Yeah,
themselves.
actually giving them so that they don't feel like there's something wrong with them.
Yeah,
That's their normal. And
yeah.
I
yeah,
think that's
I
how everybody should look at it. It's that there's nothing wrong with you. That's your normal.
Yeah. I don't know if either of you saw the episode I did with who is a Sen parent.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that episode was really enlightening because I know nothing about Sen. I know absolutely nothing other than what Cherry tells me.
Yeah.
Um, so as somebody, and again, I don't have kids, so it's not something I needed to know as such. So the more people tell me and the more educated I get, the
Mhm.
more I understand and the more I can help people and and talk to them in a different way if needed. And that was really interesting to watch. That episode isn't even on my list of, it is on my list as such as episodes I enjoy doing and learning from. But it's when we go back and talk about things that I'm like, that episode was so good, it stood out because
yeah.
um and I think that I actually have somebody that I'm talking to at the minute who did have a later life diagnosis of
Yeah.
ADHD, who is considering coming on if she feels comfortable. But I completely agree. It is good sometimes to know, this is what was going on in my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know quite a bit about, like later in life diagnosis and that impact. And, I think that there's an aspect of us that's a bit, all of us, that's a bit neurospicy sometimes. But I think for me, until like I talked to you about it, Cherry, and obviously till you did M's episode, I did not realise just how difficult it is for some
Yeah.
parents to actually get the support their child needs, and how underfunded, under resourced it is in this country, because you just think, oh, automatically every school's got to have something in place. But then if there's multiple children that need the support, then they're limited because they only get so much funding. And it's like, and going through the whole, is it ECHP?
EHCP.
EHCP process, and
Yeah.
how challenging that is. Like
Yeah.
when you're then also trying to care for a child that's got additional needs, like it's just it just seems in absolute
Yeah.
insanity to me.
Well, it's even like if you claim DLA, the form, just filling in the form for DLA is 80 something pages long for this form.
Mind
And
blowing,
some of
isn't
the
That's
it?
crazy.
questions, it's like you've got to write a full A4 sheet of things. And
Yeah.
I've had to do it twice. And luckily now I've not got to do it for another 6 years, I think. I
And
think
I
she's got
know
a
Claire's
DLA to
needs are
then.
probably going to change in that time, but really, is she's still going to need the support regardless? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what different? It might differ in levels, but she's still going to need it. So
Yeah.
why do you have to keep reaffirming that your child needs
Yeah.
support like that? That to me just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because the needs are always going to be there. Then there's not some magic pill that's going to,
Like,
change
she's
all
not
the
going to
needs
just sort
overnight.
of turn 11 and be like, oh, don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, she's still going to need extra
If
support.
not, if anything, especially as a girl,
Yeah.
which I know we shouldn't differentiate, but the hormonal changes for girls at that age
Yeah.
only exasperate symptoms more in,
Yeah.
sen kids, because not only are they struggling with the things that they're already struggling with, that you then throw all that into the mix, and it just,
Normal teenage
yeah.
stuff. Me and Craig always joke that when Claire's a teenager, we're going to split up so that we can just share 50-50, share the time.
I love
Like,
that.
I don't want to do full time teenager.
I love
Like,
that. I love that.
we'll split.
Do you want
Take
me
it
to
in
do you
turns.
want me to put a granny flat in my back garden, and you can just come and live in that for a couple of
Yeah, we'll
days?
just, yeah.
So you're not too far away.
Yeah, I'm there if you
You
need me.
need a
Just
breather.
shout down the road.
Just our stasis.
Yeah, yeah. I love that we could actually be sat next to each other doing this right now, Stacey.
Yeah, literally. We literally could be.
Yes, for anyone who doesn't know, Cheri and Stacy pretty much live on the same street.
Yeah,
If I
opposite
looked out the
sides
window
of
and
the
Stacey
street.
looked out the window, we could probably see each other.
Yeah,
Probably
opposite.
wave. Hi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
opposite side of the street. We do on the odd occasion bump into each other. And my mum did make a big point the other day that of waving at you when you drove past us on the school run. She's like, no one waves at Cherry, but I always wave at Cherry, and I'm like, woo!
Every single day I drive past one of them. It's either you and your mum or your nana and Kirsty. There's a combination of the four of you. Every single day, I'm like this. Like that. Sometimes I think I'm going to put the window down and be like, and I think in the year that I've been waving, driving that way to work, I've probably had 3 waves back.
Wow.
Well,
I know. How
need to
rude.
try harder.
I'm not very observant when I'm driving, which is a terrible thing to say.
You're watching the cars, not the people in the
Yeah,
cars.
that's true.
That's
That's
right.
true.
That's right.
My mum's watching
Okay.
the people in the cars, which is why she was waving like a
Yeah.
crazy woman the other day.
I'm going to move on a little bit. Stacey, you said that one of your favorite episodes was Keenan's, and I
Yeah,
actually asked my dad what his top 3 episodes were as well, because it's not a podcast unless I've asked my dad a question.
of course.
And to be fair, I did ask my mum as well, and they both gave very different answers, which is quite exciting. But you both said Keenan's, so why did you say Keenan's?
I just think that he has done so much, and is seen so much, and he's achieved so much, that it's really inspiring. And that I love to be inspired by people. Like I sometimes struggle to inspire myself, so I have to look outside. And I
Yeah.
just think that he's such a natural. when it comes to conversation. I can fully understand why he's gone as far as he has and that he's done the things that he does. And, I've always had a big interest in fashion and arts. And I just think someone like that to me is, if I got to, like, if I didn't have children and I didn't get married, like, if I was just floating about my life with all the freedoms in the world, that's the life I would have wanted. And I think I
Right.
can live vicariously through that podcast, because I'm like, oh, I would have done that. I would have definitely done that. I'd have moved to New York. I'd have thrown myself out there. And I think, like, he's such a down to earth guy as well. Like, he's such a
Yeah.
lovely guy. And the fact that he hasn't forgotten where he's from, and he still keeps in touch with, like, his friends from childhood, which is obviously, how you end up getting introduced to him. And he's very clearly also been inspired by the people around him.
Yeah.
And I think he's such a lovely, genuine person, and it's nice to see that from somebody who's achieved so much.
And he has kept in touch a lot since. Like, we do chat every now and again, just say hi and how's your dad? How's things? How's Florida? He
Have
is a
you,
genuine nice guy.
Joe? Have you ever met him in person?
No, so when you guys did, I didn't. Did you go to New York?
Yeah.
I didn't come
This
to New
is
York.
this is what I'm thinking though. Like I said about Sophie's podcast was so
Yeah,
natural. It was just such a normal, natural conversation. But you've known Sophie for 30 odd years.
Yeah.
Keenan, you've only ever spoke to online. But again, it was just such a normal, natural conversation. Like Keenan is such, like you were saying, Stacey, such a good conversationalist and such a
yeah.
natural, chatty, friendly person that again came across as such a nice chat to say you don't know him,
No,
really.
I emailed him when I was 15 or 16. Um because I was doing GCSE art, and for my art project I was designing fabrics, and I was like, well, who better to help me
Yes.
understand more than Keenan? So
Yeah.
I had his email address, and I emailed him. I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Any pointers? And he probably can't remember doing that. I think I mentioned it on the podcast, and he had a vague memory but couldn't remember properly doing that. But it was a big help to me, and it made me understand more, and it gave me that confidence to reach out to people. I'd lost the confidence for a long time again, but he was like the first person who made me feel confident enough to be able to reach out to people.
And I feel like
So
he's one
yeah,
of those guys, if you just happen to be in New York and you, like, messaged him, he'd be like, yeah, I'll come meet you for a coffee. Let's have a chat. And it's like, I like that, because
yeah.
a stranger is just a friend you've not met yet. And I think
He's
that,
already told us when we go up that we're most welcome to go for dinner or to hang out and things. So we will definitely be doing that.
yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
This, I always remember when we met him, like, this shows how normal he is. He was wearing like a quirky outfit, all designed and made by him. Like, someone stopped him in the street and was like, I love your outfit. And he just said to him, oh, thank you, it's from such and such, and just said the shop. He didn't say, thank you, I designed it myself, I made it. It was just,
Yeah,
oh, thank you, and just told him where it's from. Because he was like, it's not about me, it's just they like the outfit, I'll tell them where it's from.
yeah.
He was
Yeah.
just a normal guy, he didn't want to get all the attention.
I
Yeah, and
like
I,
Like
that
I
a
that.
think
lot.
that's something that is so relatable as well, isn't it? Because I mean, before we even started recording, we were, like, talking about your jumper and where it's from and chatting about all the stuff that we buy. And I think that's something that people naturally warm to. Like, if someone says to me, "Oh, I like that," I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got it from Tesco's," or "and it was 25%
Yeah.
off," and, like, little
Yeah.
things like that. And I think it just, you're just opening up the conversation there, aren't you? Because then the next
Yeah.
person might say, "Oh, actually, I normally shop in there, so I'll have a look next time I go." And it stops it from just being a compliment to being a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna jump from somebody who isn't all about the attention to somebody who is. Another one of my dad's favorite episodes. And he said his words were that his actual favorite episode was one that was very funny and very insightful, and it was Ken Lambert.
Oh, Ken.
So going from somebody who
I was thinking,
isn't
who are you
swimming.
saying loves the attention? I'm like, who are you
Well, that
about
would
to
be
insult here? But no,
that
that
would
was
be a drag queen.
yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
Um,
fine. I was
and
thinking, oh
again,
my god,
And what dad said was, it was the conversation. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
so natural. It was so easy. It was so nice to hear somebody just be so open and confident. And is that you, Cherry?
it's Emma Mackay actually sending a message in a group that I'm in.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
is
So,
always
it?
a Mackay, isn't it? It's
oh,
always a
it's
We
Mackay.
Mackay. Them
can't, we can't talk
Mackays.
about it on recording, can we?
No,
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's like, you know, somebody who is so confident and so strong and has that personality that absolutely shines, and it just made me feel so comfortable. It was
Yeah.
wonderful.
And that
yeah.
really
And
did come
again, that's
across.
sorry.
Really did come across.
I think his conversations were conversations that people need to hear as well. Because
Absolutely.
how often would someone like Dad, Craig, come into contact with someone like Ken Lambert?
Yeah.
Where, when, unless we're going to pay to go and watch a show, and they might get pulled up on the stage. Other than that, when will they ever hear a drag queen's point of view on things? And
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And so I think that was a really good person to get on.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
definitely.
brilliant. I'd love him to come back and talk about more. I know he's super busy, but it was so. I get confused. Am I meant to say he or she? I don't know.
I think he does refer to himself as he.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he does. Oh,
Yeah. We
don't
apologise. It's
cancel
not
me.
Ken. We apologise. I think as well, from the perspective like what you were saying, you wouldn't always envisage like someone like Craig or your dad or somebody coming into sort of like close contact with that. But I think your dad probably will have experienced more of that than we realise. But from maybe it's like maybe not drag queens, but the flamboyancy and the
Yeah,
like the individuality and stuff. I mean, your dad was fully in the punk era, and I think that's growing up where being individual and being different wasn't celebrated. They were looked down on and stuff like that. Your dad in a completely different way because the experiences are totally different, and the issues that come surround it are totally different. But your dad can probably look back on his time in his youth and sort of have some empathy,
yeah,
if
yeah,
that makes sense. And I don't ever want to diminish the way that the queer community is still impacted to this day by comparing the two, because they're two very different things. But I just think that being individual and being different is something that hasn't always been celebrated. And I think now we're in an era and a generation where people are being more open minded.
yeah,
And I think that probably resonates with your dad
yeah.
because people weren't, and he's had that experience firsthand.
I think as well something that I was thinking about. I say think too much. Um, is like the creativity of these things. It's the same with you
Mm.
know um creating music, creating fashion, performing, creating a new persona as a drag queen.
Yeah,
It's one of the best forms of healing is creativity,
yeah.
yeah,
and
And the
that
majority of the time, these drag queens, they are doing all their own makeup. They are, creating their own outfits, and I think that the expression is truly from them. Like they're not
yeah,
going out and buying; they are making, they are
yeah,
creating themselves in the
yeah,
image that they want to be, and they are allowing themselves that freedom to be completely expressive
yeah.
without worrying about judgment and what other people think. And I just think that is so wonderful, and we should just celebrate that so much more.
Oh yeah. And another episode that comes to mind with that was another one that a lot of people said was their favorite is Lisa's from Unwind with Lisa, and how the different hobbies and different um crafts and creations is so good for mental health and well-being.
Yeah.
yeah,
um Lisa is somebody that I truly admire for everything that she's done and she's built, and she is such a wonderful person. I would consider her a friend now. We talk almost daily, and she is she's a big help to my creativity, and she's definitely influential. I can't get my words out today. Um, and her outlook on life with the creativity is just, I think it's such a great thing.
And I
Yeah.
do think now that we are sort of like going more down the road where using the creative side of your brain is is being is being highlighted so much more. Whereas before it was like, get an education, go to uni, do a degree that's actually going to get you a job in real life. But I just think now to that there's more vocational education. I think people are truly realizing, being in the beauty industry and the arts and stuff, just how much work goes into that. Like, it's not just, oh, you failed at school, so you're going to be a hairdresser or a nail technician and stuff like that. Actually, you've got to really have a good brain, both
Oh
from a
yeah,
creative and both from a creative and an academic brain, to be able to do the things that they do. And it's like, I think people are realizing now that not everybody's made to be a lawyer, not everybody's made
hmm
to be a doctor. And we're looking at individual skills, creativity in academia rather than pigeonholing everybody into the same box.
I mean, I did hairdressing at college, and I can tell you that is a science.
Oh God,
Anyone
yeah,
who is mixing
Yeah.
chemicals is a
yeah,
science.
100%.
Maths, all your
Yeah,
ratios and your
Yeah,
percentages, and
without a
and
doubt.
like without knowing a bit of science, a bit of math,
Yeah.
I would be nowhere. Um, and
I think the same. I
like
think same
now,
in any bit of the beauty industry, because they
yeah,
are using chemicals like every day, and they've got to get the timings right and the mixings right, and that you can't you got to think about ventilation, you've got to think about all of this, and I don't think people truly understand just how much.
no,
And most of the time, these people are self-employed, so they're
yeah,
doing their own
yeah,
books. Yeah, they're working
yeah,
out their own taxes,
yeah,
or and if they employ people because they're running their own business, and it's like it truly is a skill to be able to do that.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But like say when we were at school, that was like the naughty kids, and
Yeah,
like just because if you think of sort of the children that used to that we were at school with that went on to do those sorts
yeah,
of things, they were known as the ones that didn't listen in school,
yeah.
or
Wait, I
you know,
listened in school.
uh,
I was good in school. I did really well.
no, but I
But
know like
carry on.
my around my year group,
Yeah,
I think some people were allowed to sort of, so when you choose your options, they
yeah,
started letting people do hairdressing as an option,
or
and it was
childcare.
it was
Childcare
known that
was
it
a big
was
one,
like
wasn't it?
oh, because they can't do the proper stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, well, actually, they're probably got more money than the rest of us.
Oh God, yeah, without a doubt. And
yeah,
especially is that that we are so much more going down sort of that the creativity route, because you've got content creators, influencers, artists is becoming like a big thing, beauty is becoming a big thing, fashion is coming back around to being a big thing again. Like the amount of people that I see like on TikTok and Instagram and stuff where they're making and selling their own clothes, and because they're putting it out in a content creator environment, it's getting picked up by people that are influential, famous, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it. And it's like now, I where was it? I read it in some financial magazine that this whole 2016 to 2026 comparison, that the wealthiest people in the world now are people who are in the creative industry, people who are influencers, people that are
yeah.
using their skills that they've
Not just in an office
yeah, not
based
just
or
in an
something,
office space
something that they're
environment.
passionate about.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I
And I
think
think that,
no, go on.
go on to this. Go on.
I think like the world has changed so much in the last decade, when people are becoming self-made billionaires out of selling lip glosses and stuff like that. And it's like you just think that it just means there's so much more opportunity for the next generation to do
Yeah,
something that they truly love and be passionate about, and they can actually make something of it, because there is not as much stigma anymore about taking a more creative route.
Yeah, this is something I was talking about with Lisa actually. We was talking maybe a week or so ago, um, and I am the queen of the side hustle.
We
I am
know.
constantly making, creating, doing something. And I said to her one day, I would love to just be the queen of the side hustles.
Mhm.
I could. I'm getting back into making my jams and my spreads, so that's something I've always wanted to do and sell. I have my stationery line. I want to go back into my photography. I would be so happy being the queen of every little thing. So then the other ones, I'm just going to run through really quickly, so we don't make this too long of an episode. But a couple of the other ones that were like really flagged as being people's favorites. And sometimes it surprises me what people say are the favorites and what don't get mentioned. But one of them that kept popping up was both of Laura's episodes. So Girls Who Game and Girls Who Like Sports. Um, and I've really enjoyed doing both of those episodes because I learned a lot and it was nice chatting with somebody who's very like-minded to me. And again, this is where I've made so many friends because Laura is somebody I talk to every day now. Again, Lisa I talk to all the time. Lauren, we talk a lot. All these people. It's a new way of making friends. Um, but really listening to Laura and how she is so passionate about things was really, really nice to hear. And knowing that I was in the same kind of boat in a lot of the things as well.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. Um,
I think
just
that
think,
sort of ties in a bit with Emma's as well. Like these are all very male driven things, and I
yeah,
think that
Like
as women,
stereotypically.
it's so nice now that there is more of us going out there and doing things that are normally stereotypically driven towards men. And I think the
yeah,
more that we talk about it, and the more these types of things come upon, the podcast episodes, it does really make you think, well, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do because it doesn't matter anymore. There's less stigma around it now, and I'm going to shout it from the rooftops if it's something that I love doing. I'm not going to be
yeah,
shy about
definitely.
it anymore.
So I've gone, and again, there's a lot of episodes that I've mentioned so far, and I can't mention every single one of them because there's just so many. My absolute favorite of all time is forever going to be Kelsey's.
Yeah,
More because of the behind the scenes things that happen with Kelsey. Um, she is a very shy person, or she at least she was. She's coming out a lot more, and the way that she was so comfortable to talk about how bad her PMS is, that was just more of like I felt like a proud big sister. I know she's not my sister, but I felt like a proud big sister, and I was so happy that she felt comfortable. And she was like my very first episode, maybe my second.
yeah.
Um, but for her to have the trust and faith that this is okay, and to be able to talk about PMS and how it affects her and how it affects a lot of people that we don't even realize, I really enjoyed that episode as well.
I think women are just advocating for themselves so much more now that it just gives people the opportunity to be able to talk openly about stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, I just think that as a teenager, my periods were horrendous and my moods were horrendous, and it's only probably in the last 5 years that I've really been able to get my head around that I'm not losing my absolute marbles. It is something that happens to a lot more women
yeah,
than, and we are talking about it more now. And
yeah,
I think things like the podcast is really opening up opportunities to be able to discuss things that used to be so private.
yeah,
And again, I think that leads back into sort of like what we were talking about with Lisa. There is more creators out there. There is more, influencers out there that are just owning their truths and, creating things that are more in line with everybody rather than it
yeah,
just,
Normalizing
yeah.
things.
Like I learned something the other day that until I think it was maybe 2013, maybe a different year, that tampons were never actually tested with menstrual fluid. They were always
yeah,
tested with water.
yeah.
Like,
it makes no
I'm
sense.
speechless. Totally
It makes no
speechless.
sense at all. And,
But
people don't
again,
look at
a lot of,
hormones or anything.
yeah, a lot of medication, a lot of things that we need every day as women have never been tested on women.
No,
So, because
it makes no
hormones have an
sense.
impact, you see. Hormones have an impact.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Was there any episodes that I've not mentioned that either of you really like stood out and wanted to mention?
Oh, God, there's been so many, hasn't there?
I feel on the spot
Um,
now.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I really liked Lincoln's episode.
Yeah,
I
Lincoln's was
think
good.
I think that the struggles of transitioning and stuff like that is something that's still a very taboo and you know discriminated against. I do think that we need to explore stuff like that more, and I think that was a very very brave thing that he did.
Yeah.
I think that, and I've spoke to Lincoln quite a few times, and I just think that every journey is different for everybody, and I just think that being so open and so honest, even though it was probably really really hard to do. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's probably one that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Am I putting you on the spot, Cherry?
Yeah, my mind's not working.
It's okay. I know you're sick. I'm sorry. Um, if you could pick any topics of what you either wanted to hear or what you wanted to talk about for future episodes, what would they be?
Oh God, that's a
Oh,
hard one as
now we are
well,
on the
isn't
spot.
it?
I'm sorry. So I want to do a fun one about why we all love serial killer documentaries and why we're obsessed with true crime nowadays. So that's something that I want to talk about
Yeah, yeah, I
and
think
look into.
I
But
agree with that one. The minds of serial killers. I think I'd love to do. I'd love to do
it's
more
more,
research on
it's not
that.
necessarily the minds of serial killers. I want to talk about why
The
we
minds
love
of
it.
the people
Why
who.
we
Yeah,
love it.
yeah,
Yeah, I suppose you could put that in the same realms as book talk and the
yeah,
fantasy and romantasy and stuff like that. I think yeah, well, I mean, my love. Um,
yeah,
but I think that again, it's just the escapism, isn't it?
yeah. I have a
I
very good episode coming out very, very soon that I think you're going to really like. I spoke to Anthony, Katie's husband, and we spoke a lot about leaving a very, very stable job that he had to chase his dream. And
love
it's
that.
you're gonna really enjoy the episode when it comes out. I can't wait for it to come out. It's
Yeah,
very good. It's on the same kind of scale as the conversation that me and Sophie had. Like
yeah,
we had no questions lined up. We had no script. We never have a script anyway. But you know what I mean. It was just,
yeah,
hey, how's things? Let's have a chat. And it's a very good. I can't wait for you to hear that one.
yeah. I love that. I love the no the minimal prep episodes. I think like I do think we do jabber on and chat about a load of rubbish sometimes, but also it's nice to have conversations with like-minded people.
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of why I wanted to do this episode was, you know, I've said so many times, oh, I'm nearly 40, I'm nearly 40, and I've never really reflected on what these episodes have done for me and things that, like, when you hit a milestone birthday, you really think about stuff more. Um, and I've been doing that a lot over the last few months in the lead up to being 40. It's, I don't want to feel old. Like when I was 20, 40 was so old. And now that I'm almost 40, like weeks away from being 40, I feel like I'm still young.
Do you know when you
But
think about like when our parents were 40, like who we were? And
yeah,
you're like, oh my god, they really had like I thought they were like proper grown ups,
Yeah,
and now that's you two. Like
yeah.
thanks, Jess.
you're the proper
And
grown
you
up.
don't you be taking yourself out of that bracket because you're not as far off from as us.
I'm mid-30s, thank you.
Do you
You're
know what?
late
You
30s,
are over
almost early
35 now,
40s.
so you are definitely beyond like the into late 30s.
Do you know what the hardest thing is? Is when a survey comes out and you have to check the age bracket,
Yeah,
and now I'm
yeah.
on like the high
Oh,
age
God,
bracket.
same,
Oh my
same.
god.
And do you know,
It's
like when I talk to people that are a lot younger than us, and I'm like, oh my God, like they're 10 years younger than me or they're 15 years younger than me. And I'm like, I feel like I need to get my life together.
Do you find it at work? Like,
Yeah.
you're at work and you're like happy, and then new people start, and it's like, oh, I was born in 2003, and you're like,
What?
2000
what?
what? In
Are
what?
you old enough to work?
Is this legal?
I mean, I do take it as a compliment at work that not a lot of people realised that I am nearly 40. I mean,
Yeah,
grey hair
Yeah,
gets
I'll
older
take that as
now.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
I
also
would.
really shocking how I don't realise how young people are, and I look at them and think, oh, you can't, it can only be a few years younger than me, 15 years younger than me,
yeah,
12 years younger than me. I'm like,
yeah.
oh my
Yeah,
God,
I did
almost old enough
find
to be a
my
parent.
yeah, I did find my first grey hair, which devastated me. Because I like to tease Kyle that he has grey hair already and I do not, and then I found one and devastated.
I've
Is
had
it
to
no?
embrace mine. The every 4 week maintenance of colouring my hair. I mean, I've had grey hair since I was in my late 20s. I think it's something to do with like lack of something in your body. But I've had grey hair since I was in my late 20s, and now as I'm almost 40, I've I thought I'd fully embraced my greys until Facebook memories reminded me what I looked like before I had Delilah, and I had gorgeous dark hair, and I have still got dark hair, but it's now got a very, very big grey streak through it.
um, if you think about all the episodes that we've spoke about today, what do you think links it all together?
You.
I was going to say
Yeah,
that as
that's not
well.
Well,
very
that's not what I was leading at.
So she's
no.
like, praise me, praise me, tell me how great I am.
No,
I
that's
think
so.
no.
What I was
You
actually leading
don't,
at was that these.
don't diminish yourself.
Well, I'm gonna, but what I was actually leaning at is all of these stories are very, very different,
Mhm.
but they're all got the very same vibe as we're not on our own. We all relate to these stories, and it is so nice and comfortable. And you can just talk about it, and it's okay.
Yeah, but I think that you've got to celebrate the fact that you've allowed people to feel that comfortable, and you have put yourself in an uncomfortable position for
Yeah,
some of the topics that you've talked about, and you've laid yourself bare out for everybody to see. And I just think that you've made recording the podcast so easy for people, which is why it comes across so naturally, because not everybody is your cousin, not everybody
no,
is your friend. Some of these people you're only just getting to know as part of recording the podcast, and the fact that some of these people are now your everyday friends, you know, is very telling on who you are as a person and how you've changed and how you're embracing yourself now. And yes, you are 40 in a few weeks time, but I think you are truly becoming Joanna.
I hate it when you say nice things because then you make me cry. And we all know that when you turn 40, your hormones go everywhere and you cry because that's what happens.
Hello,
um,
perimenopause. The next
oh
subject.
no, I'm not
But
there yet. I'm okay.
and I know it makes you cry, and I don't like to see you cry, but I just think, and I know Cherry will agree with me on this one, that you, it is you.
I do try. I do try. And I do think as well that if these people weren't these nice, friendly people who want to and I felt confident to be able to talk
Mhm.
about these things and would all be in the same situation and would all be struggling still. And you
Yeah,
don't realize how much talking to somebody helps that one person.
yeah. And
So,
you've said it time and time again that listeners have reached out to you and said how much it resonates with them, and me and Cherry have both said it, and I know that when we've talked about it on different podcasts and stuff, how much we've related to what other people have said, and
mhm.
how it's made us feel, and it's made us feel more confident to be who we are.
ruined my makeup.
Sorry. Love you.
I didn't expect that answer. That's not what I genuinely wasn't going for that answer.
She was
But thank you.
fishing.
I wasn't fishing. I'm clearly a
Cherry's being the
crybaby.
sister. Cherry's being the sister. I'm being the cousin. That's what.
So going forward, we're going to have less crying. We're going to have
Please.
another year of lots of excitement. I'm really excited to see what the next year or so brings. What we do bring to the table. What we can talk about. I know I have so many more subjects I want both of you to come back on and talk about, and I don't know. I just want to say thank you to both of you two as well, because you've done so many episodes with me that you've made me cry like I can't get my words together. Jesus Christ. This is what happens when you turn 40, you just cry.
You can't blame being 40.
I've got a few more weeks, it's
You
okay.
always,
I've got another
you
month.
always cry.
Yeah. But, you know, I genuinely wouldn't be able to do what I do without the people who do it with me.
Yeah.
Whether it is like the social media or the episodes. So thank you very much.
We love
You're
you,
very
and we will
I hope
celebrate
nobody's just listening because
your
my voice is
person.
completely gone now. Yeah. Anything before I wrap up?
Happy 40th birthday, Joanna.
God.
You're old.
Ugh,
You're old now, and you're older
so
than me for a few more months.
ugh, it's gross, isn't it? Absolutely gross. Anyway, so anyone who is still listening, thank you. Sorry I cried again. And until next time.
We digress.
That's going to be the sub podcast that I do. I digress. Thinking about a sub podcast.